Okay, everyone. Good evening. So, as you can kind of tell by looking around, we don't currently have forums. We can't start business. We still have an informal, a meeting, informational meeting, still talk to our local partners. And as an update, you may have not noticed on the agenda, the Ackerman Group had to cancel last minute from illness. So they're not gonna be here tonight and intend to come in at January's meeting. Which is, I need to make sure before I say that, as a reminder, that will be January 18th. So that's the current, they weren't able to make it today. And that's the plan is to move them to January 18th. You didn't have a copy of the packet that we passed out for their presentation and proposal last month. Let me know. We can get you a copy. We already have it on our website as well under both November and December. So you can review that ahead of that meeting. Okay, so we'll get started with the fire department. If you guys have any announcements for the group, and this is being recorded and live streamed to Facebook. So you can watch it later on Facebook, or I'll upload it tomorrow to our YouTube channel as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Joel Cotton. I'm a traveling lieutenant, so I'm not usually in this area. I'm the guy that's here today, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us. We get a list of points that we're supposed to talk about. Pretty simple, straightforward. The main thing is increasing your safety for all of your Christmas decorations in general. And that means specifically, if you've got brand new lights, make sure that they have the UL listings and that they've been checked and they're proper lights for use. Make sure they're checked for their indoor or outdoor usage. It's on here not to plug any more than 3 lights into any one extension cord, 3 sets of standard lights. The next thing that it also says here is to make sure that when you are rigging them up, you're using staples, nails, don't damage the wires while you're hanging those lights up. Now, the reason why they give us all this information is because there is an increase in both heating, cooking, and Christmas tree decoration events during this time of year. So it's very important to us. They also tell you to go ahead and turn these lights off when you're not at home and once you go to sleep. And that is the recommended best practices as we have them. Does anybody actually have a metallic tree at home? If you do, you're not really supposed to use the same corded wrapped lights on a metallic tree. You know, if it does create some kind of short or some kind of electrical situation, it could be more dangerous than on a live tree. But with your live trees, or your cut trees, I should say, make sure that you don't let them dry out too much, because that is also a fire hazard. A lot of times we have LED lights now. They don't get quite as warm. And so that's important to note as well. But these are just best practice guidelines. The last thing they tell us is the bubbling lights. Make sure you keep them away from your children because of the glass and because of the chemicals that are involved in there. That can be very dangerous to a child to get cut or to ingest. Now, the big thing that we always talk about, we've been talking about since October, we've been talking about since forever, is that there is a imperative that everybody checks their smoke detectors. I can't tell you how many times I'm on the phone or I hear my daughter on the phone and I can hear the detector chirping in the background. It's already too late. You should have already replaced the battery every 6 months before it starts chirping. We should never hear that chirping sound. Replace them twice a year. It saves so much time. It's so safe. It's so important. And I like to talk about that every chance I get. The other thing is that we do a thing now where if you have children in Cincinnati Public Schools, don't call the local firehouse, don't show up at the local firehouse, but you can call the fire building and they will make available until they run out the detectors that they have in that capacity. However, if you don't have children in CPS, you just need to go through the Red Cross as per usual, because they're also going to have a number of detectors at whatever time they get bring shipments in. So just keep checking if for some reason you don't get them right away. Because again, that is the most important thing for safety, to be alerted at the possibility of smoke. Keep them maintained. Don't let them be over 10 years old or whatever the manufacturer recommends. And we do have some chances to get some new ones. I'd like to just say thank you for having me and open it up for if anyone has any questions at all.
Any questions? No, looks like no.
All right.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, next up, we'll have Officer Martin, our local neighborhood liaison with the District 2 Police Department.
Part 1 crimes are down, but we are still having a lot of theft from autos, meaning that people are leaving guns, cash, diamond rings, and very valuable things in their vehicles, and they're being broken into. So the theft from autos we're getting killed with theft from autos. So again, please be mindful. Tell friends, family, coworkers, everybody, please do not leave any valuable items in your vehicle because they're going to steal them. And also, because it's cold outside and I know we want to warm our cars up, let's not leave our cars running to warm them up and go in the house, because we're also having a lot of thefts from vehicles, or theft of vehicles, because people are leaving their cars running. But again, please, let's stop keeping valuables in our vehicles, because we are getting killed with theft from autos, and people are actually keeping it in plain sight, like leaving purses on the driver's side, on the seat, leaving valuables on the seat is just not good, or even in the car, it's not good. But other than that, I don't have anything else. Do anybody have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, they can steal it. They can still steal it. They can't go far, but they can take it. Yes.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we still having an issue with the Kias being stolen?
Yes, we are. And from my understanding that the Kia, I guess, corporation is actually taking care of it. But yes, we are still having issues with the Kias. I don't know. I guess the newer ones are better, but they still will break in the car just to see if they can take it.
And Hyundai is the other.
And Hyundai, yes.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? No?
All righty, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
All right, I know the library said that she was not gonna be able to make it tonight. So moving on, didn't have any big reports for the board and committees. Pulled up my notes. Big thing is NSP. The grant will be due in February, and the last expenditure will be in January. That's in the notes, impacting the usual financial standing, since that's going to be a little bit lower this year. So that goes into planning for next year's budget. I'm trying to think. The election results are in there in case you missed that last month. That was president is Kate Botos. Vice president was Monica Hill. Treasurer is Jeff Hart. We did not have anybody run for recording secretary, and Angela Pearson was elected corresponding secretary. So they take their positions on January 1st. And so we'll have, so like the next month, there might not be a lot of activity from the board as we kind of work on transitioning people over and getting them well-versed in kind of their new organizational accounts, and kind of answering any questions that might come out from being a new person in a new position. Like I said, Ackerman was going to come tonight. that is planned for January now. That was from illness last minute. And I think that is it. The other thing that we did want to do is we have to vote for approval for the annual contract for the planners. That's the business improvement program with Cincinnati Parks, where the community organization pays half the cost and the city pays the other half. And we have 20 planners that are in that program, and those are the ones that are the tan ones. And the city takes care of everything. They plant all the materials, they water it, they rotate it out throughout the year as the seasons change, replace it if they die. It's just, they ask that a community organization pays for half of that cost, which in past years was $200 for each planner. This year they are increasing it to $330 per planner. So that's a total cost of $6,600. So I'm kind of delaying to see, as Kate is counting the numbers, to see if we have made quorum so we can do business. We're good? Yeah, okay. No one can leave. Well, we have food, so we run out of food, then people will leave. Probably what will happen. Okay, so I can call the meeting to order. In the packet that was handed out right at the front table, we had the treasurer's report and the meeting minutes. Nobody has any questions about those. I can just follow those, and which is always available on our website. Yeah, the question was for the community publications. So we have a postcard that we're going to send out that was purchased. And so that was just something of before paying to send them out. I was going to double check with Susan to make sure we're good on our numbers, to make sure that we haven't gone over our NSP budget, if that makes sense. So this postcard is it's like an advert, a large note card just saying, this is the community council. This is we meet every third Thursday at 7 p.m. at the rec center, except for August. And there's a link to the website and a QR code for the website as well, to help advertise, just to see how that impacts outreach, right? Like awareness, does it increase awareness, getting this in the mail kind of thing. So, and that'll, it kind of got interrupted when our communications chair had to step down. So that kind of delayed that getting sent out. But yeah. All right, where was I? Okay, so can I get, so going back to the planners program, can I get a motion on the floor? I have a motion from Mike Ty. Can I get a second? Well, you. Okay, seconded by Monica Hill. Thank you. If there are no, all right, are there any questions or comments? Yeah, there were, in the past, we would send out a note, right? Just the beautification committee would send out a note politely asking for a donation. And that did happen throughout the year because we're kind of like backwards, right? Like we were paying for those donations were going towards the next year. So yeah, those were sent out throughout the year. Yeah. And then, right. And so it was working forward. So those were asking for the next year. Yeah. Which obviously, the suggested donation was $200. So that doesn't match anymore. So that's something that, we will, from the budget standpoint, that's where the NSP right, it might just leave us less flexibility with the NSP, which strategically is also very convenient because it makes that application a lot easier if you have less stuff. You know, you have the application is for very simple paperwork things. It makes that paperwork a lot easier. So yeah, to answer your question, sorry. But potentially, right? Yeah. So, and then NSP, that first application window is in February. So you have ideas for activities, let us know. That could be an agenda item in January, but there's no necessary rush because NSP window is from February to June. We got half of the year, and then that funds have to be used by the end, until January of the next year. So earlier is better, but yeah. Yeah. So the funding source for the $6,600 for this contract is mostly the existing balance. However, it's not all paid all at once. So there's 4 installments. There's multiple installments throughout the year. But yeah, it would be, since we're in that gap between the contract is due in January 15, but NSP you can't apply for until February. Like we do have, we have the cash on balance to be able to pay for it, but yeah, I can't 100% guarantee that there's not going to be any issues. And that would just end up being harder to do other programming since we have the cash on hand to pay for it now. If we agree to this now, then we have to make sure that we keep that cash balance to pay for it. And then that more changes the NSP kind of calculation and what other things could be paid for out of the NSP. Yes, the city, so we'd be paying $6,600 for 20 planners, and the city Parks is also paying $6,600 out of their budget for all of them. Yeah. And this is multiple communities. Yeah. So the total, yeah, would be over $12,000, right? And yeah, so it's a big. I haven't talked to any other community people about this yet, about how they have felt about the increase, but it's either you do this or you don't, right? And then if you don't, you let them just sit empty? Do you go and backfill instead? So there's like a trade-off there. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there's other opportunities for funding sources. And I did ask a year ago, I can't remember exactly when, it was a while ago. I did ask like, are we stuck at 20? At that time, I was told we could go up to 30. And I just never brought it up because of it's a lot of money, right? Another 10 would be a lot of money. So it would be kind of a bigger discussion. Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, she was asking about other funding sources, which is similar to what Sarah was mentioning. There are, like a separate contractor. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So so her comment was just a discussion at CMBDU, which is an organization advocating for neighborhood business districts in the city. And they have their own grant for business districts. And so she was just mentioning how there was discussion at that organization of like, how can we find a different vendor that might be more affordable than the city? But that's kind of to be determined. Right. Yep. Yeah. So he was just saying that the city's union workers might have a seat at the table on reducing this work towards them. So yeah. But yeah, more, nothing solid, just ideas that people are throwing around. So, you have a question?
I'm not opposed to shopping it. I don't think we have time to shop it for this year because we have to make a decision by January 15th. To Mike's point though, getting the amount of work, they swap out the planters 3 times a year. They do all of the watering. To get it for less than $12,000, I'd be curious, honestly, if anybody could even do that.
All right. So are there any other questions about this? There is.
Is there a drive in the business district to get donations from businesses for these one of the planters?
Yeah, the beautification committee at the community council has in the past sent out like a form letter asking for donations to help off the cot. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I think that's raising that requested ask. Yeah, is definitely gonna be part of that. It's more of, how do you phrase that to not sound like we're trying to twist your arm or something like that, but there's a, tact, right? So, okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Okay. All right. So by show of hands, or just to repeat, approval to go into a contract with the Cincinnati Parks for the 2024 Business Improvement Program for 20 planners at a cost of $6,600. So by show of hands, how many yeses do I have? Okay. Right into your left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Thank you. By show of hands, how many no's do I have? Seeing none. Oh, 1. Thank you. And then by show of hands, how many abstentions do I have? Seeing none. The vote passes, and then I'll upload that contract for the online for next month's meeting. Okay. So agency announcements in the neighborhood. Are there any announcements from Hartsville? No. Business chamber, you just want to wait for your present. Okay. And then Kirk, Sarah, do you have any announcements or anything? Or oh, yeah.
Very brief. I hope everyone is having a safe and peaceful holiday season. Just very briefly, I wanted to update everyone on the NOFA homes. NOFA, it stands for Notice of Funding Availability, and that is for subsidies for building homes. We have 9 in Madisonville that 5 of them have sold. And yeah, yay for that. those are all homes that are, the affordability is at 80% area median income. 5 have sold, 2 perhaps are listed for sale. 1 is finished and listed for sale. 1 is finished and ready to be listed, so that one may already be up. One of those is a ranch. And then another one finishing things up, close to the first punch in a couple of weeks. And the final one should be punching out within the week, so about 99% complete. So that's going on. We have we hope to make an announcement in January about a business that we look to be opening in the business district in the eastern part. So we hope to provide you all more details in January on that. And also to provide more information in January about the upcoming year for event programming in the business district. Miss Angela?
5 houses that sold, they sell for,
They were listed for 210,000.
and they go by your income.
Yeah, so their income restricted to 80% of area median income for you to be eligible to purchase
And you
them.
said it was 200 or what?
210,000. Yeah, houses are, I mean, yeah, I understand. Houses are expensive. Yes, they are. Well, unfortunately, that's the going rate for even just a modest home these days. Yeah, I don't know yet. We partnered with the port on these homes. I don't know yet, or if that is data that they collect. I hope to find that out. No, these are new builds. Yeah, they're new builds. There are 2 on Wetzel. One on Adelphi, 1 on Owasco, 2 on Ward. I'm sorry, there are 3 on Wetzel, 1 on Peabody. There's another one on Ward. So that's where they're located.
Does anybody,
So the area median income is set by HUD, and so there are charts. I think there may have been a link for the presentation tonight with Ackerman Group to the city's page that shows what the area median income amounts are. And quite honestly, you know, I think for a family of 4, I'm throwing a number out here, so please nobody quote me on it. I feel like 70, I don't know, Sarah, do you know? It may be 74,000. Again, don't quote me on that. But this, if you think a family of 4 with 2 parents or 2 adults and 2 children, and Target paying $16 to $17 an hour, you know, if you earn $20 an hour, that's $40,000 a year. A 2 family would earn $80,000, and that's 2 people working at Target earning $20 an hour. So those are the people who are eligible for those homes. Oh yeah, I mean, a lot has happened, a lot has changed in the economy, you know, since all the changes that have gone on in Madisonville. So some of them are external forces. The area median income? Yeah, they've gone, I mean, it's the median income and the AMI, that's set by HUD. It's not based on Madisonville, it's based on the area. Yeah, so. I don't think there's a connection between those two. I mean, that's something different. The median income that makes you eligible to purchase the homes is different from the people who are living here, legacy residents who are trying to get assistance and help. Those are two different things.
Well, I don't know if either you want to share the NOFA homes. They're already subsidized, so you're getting like the house price is what, 210.
That's
and
what
it's
they're
costing what,
listed.
upwards of almost 400,000 to build those. So they're going into the house with some equity. So it's actually a really good program they do across the city. It's actually helping to build for those families that get these houses. It's helping them to build generational wealth. So it's kind of like, okay, it's the next us in Madisonville getting that leg up. So they're getting a house that's already worth more than what they're paying for it. They have to stay for what, 5 years before they can even sell it? So it's not like they get it and they can try and sell it in 6 months and make a profit. Like, the point is to keep them here and keep them invested.
It's gonna push a lot of African Americans and houses and all the years. Is that fair for them to come in and spend this community?
But Ms. You have to understand, anybody that meets those income requirements, if they qualify for the loan, they can apply to go get that same house. So those are, it's not like no, but I mean, like they could, I could have applied for the first round. I ended up going with the house that I had now, but I could have applied for it. So it's not a secret. It's not, if you qualified based on those income requirements, if you know people that can qualify, send them to them to get. No, I'm not.
Yeah, just also, Ms. Angela, so the city has allocated, this is a separate program, but with some of their ARPA funds. Yes, sorry, with the city has allocated with some of their ARPA funds to invest in a home repair program that does help existing residents around the city. They awarded that contract to an organization called LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation. They've just signed their contract. They've just hired somebody to run the program. But that's something that we should keep an eye on because that will be a program that can help existing residents with, repairs to their homes and, things that you need. And, that is for the people who already own homes. So I don't have any more details about it right now, but I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot about it in 2024. I think you're talking about the PWC program. Yeah, yes, I have heard that to access PWC services, a lot of people maybe make too much money, but they still need the help. So hopefully this program will fill that gap and we'll be able to help a lot of Madisonville people. So we'll want to get the word out about that next year.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we can move on to the business portion of the agenda, which is for the business chamber was requesting a letter of support and they have a presentation.
Good evening.
Sure. Gary's got us there. I'm Josh Ulrich. I'm on the community council as a committee chair for the business and economic development. I'm also on the board of the business chamber with Terry. I'm the recording secretary and member at large. So the business chamber is applying this year for a grant for the neighborhood NBDSF, which is Neighborhood Business District Support Fund. This is a grant that we can use for things like membership, marketing, insurance, organizational development, community events, etc. And Ms. Terry has a breakdown of what we're asking for and how that breaks down.
And we have 3 areas of focus. Did you do this already? Okay, next.
Oh, there we go.
All right, our primary goals, we have 3 areas of goals that we want to hit this year. Organizational and leadership development, our liability insurance, and membership decals for 2024 for all our members that join so that they can place them in their businesses. The organizational leadership development program would be between the 3 groups, which would be MCC, the Business Chamber, and MCIRC. And this is to make sure that we are giving our best to the community. Right now, we're kind of separate on how we do things and what we don't want to cross each other's paths and cause a big uproar. So we want to make sure that we talk those things out and get on the same accord Second is liability insurance, which is $500. The organizational leadership is $3,000, and it's a day. It'll be either 2 half days or 1 full day. The membership decals are the same as what we do every year, is we give a membership packet. This time we're narrowing it down and we're just giving out decals. Total fund is $37.50. That's it. And that was short. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, no questions? All right, so if there are no questions or comments, you have like a motion on the floor to approve this letter of support request. And okay, it's Kim Douthit, seconded by Mike Ty. Okay, I guess if there's no comments or questions, we can vote on the motion. By a show of hands, how many yeses do I have? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Thank you. By a show of hands, how many noes do I have? Seeing none. And by show of hands, how many abstentions do I have? See 1. Okay, thank you. Unless anyone has any other business for the group, that concludes the business portion of the agenda. So we can like vote to add more business if there's an item that somebody would like the organization to address or vote on.
First thing is, last month we had a meeting. I think we had too many people in here. I felt, I think I'm unsafe, really. There's just too many people we packed into this room. I think when we have a meeting like that in the future, we need to be able to access that gym. We had people packed in here. I was at the door. I mean, there was one exit out of here. I don't know what the seating capacity in here, but the next time we ever have a meeting like that again, we got to get a hold of the Recreation Commission and let them know that the third Thursday of every month, there may be a possibility that we may have to go into the gym and to let them people know that playing volleyball out there, that this group may have to go out there. There's way too many people in here. It was unsafe, I thought.
So we have to like vote to amend the business to add this as an item.
I think we
You
need,
want this to vote on.
my second question is to address the bylaws.
We have to do one at a time.
Let's do that, okay.
If there's you want to amend.
Was I the only one that felt that we had too many people in here?
So that's for debate. So if you say, I want to add this item.
I want to add this item to the
Okay.
itinerary.
All right. Is there a second? The motion is to.
The motion is to, in case of overcrowding of this room, that this body is able to move our meeting in a safer location, which is the gym. In the future.
You want to add that? Okay, Anna, does
Does that make sense? And
So you're making a motion to add that to the
Right.
agenda.
And first of all, this recreation center is for the community.
So that's for debate.
Okay.
Okay, just what is your motion?
The motion is to, in the future, if we get to the point where we believe somebody feels that the building is, first of all, what's the seating capacity in this?
That's for debate. Just what is your motion?
The motion is to have, access to the gym if we feel like we're overcrowded here.
And did you get that?
100 people. We had 145 in here.
That's for debate. Hold on. We have to vote to add the agenda first. Please hold on. Okay. So when someone has a motion to add something to the agenda, there needs to be at least a second. Okay. All right, Josh Ulrich seconded that. Okay, so now we can open to debate if you want to present your item and the points of why you're.
My point is this. This community center is meant for this community. It's not meant for volleyball teams on the gym. They're using it, that's fine. They're renting it, that's fine. But if we get to the point where we had a meeting, where we had an election, we had 145 people in a room that seating capacity is 100, we were overcrowded. I felt, I was at the door, I was one way out of here. We should be able to move our meeting to the gym. They should give them 15 minutes notice that we're moving our meeting to the gym. That should be written into there. How many times is it gonna happen? Maybe once every 3 years or 4 years, or maybe once a year? I don't know. But I think we need to, I'm not criticizing nobody, but but that needs to be addressed, I think. We were overcrowded.
Comment in the back.
People don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. If people don't know, there are actually 4 exits. I'm like, I feel like we need to do fire protocol. Here, through the kitchen, the back door, and through this
You're
door.
saying
No. There.
okay,
One person can talk at a time. He's not interrupted.
I don't disagree that it was a fire hazard. Something we need to think about, though. It happens every 2 years with the election. I don't think that's I don't think that's an unnecessary ask to say, hey, we know we have an election every 2 years, but it seems to only happen for the election. I would actually ask if you could amend your motion to actually just say a venue that would fit the number of people that we anticipate. As I look over at Kathy, because the theater at Artsville seats 160-ish, which in that case, had we known, had we thought ahead, had we asked, I'm sure, barring anything because again, people are paying for these spaces. So we can't say, oh, you're paying for this, but not today. If they've already accepted money, that's a legally binding contract. But if there are other spaces, not just the rec center, where that would be conducive, that's why I would say to a space that would fit the number of people and not just limit it to just the rec center.
Kate, that's fine. Do I have the floor yet?
I mean, she's done, and I have to let other people, if other people have to talk, they have to be allowed to talk before I can circle back to you.
Well, first of all, Kate, you're fine.
No, no, it is not your turn to talk. Josh wants to talk over here. He raised his hand, which means I have to let him go first before I circle back to someone who has already talked.
I want to know what the capacity of this room is.
The capacity of this room is 100, according to the sign by the door. We will most certainly above it. All right, now it is, okay, so now as president, as chair of this meeting, I want to enter debate, which means I have to hand it over to the vice president, which is good practice for her. Means I have to stay off of chair and you must be chair. Okay.
For the next 30 seconds, I'm now the chair while he says whatever it is he needs to say.
Okay, this motion is redundant because we already have the right to use the gym whenever we want. Brian will cancel volleyball or any other event and let us move into it. Now, well, it's up to I'm done talking. It's up to the chair of the meeting to recognize the next speaker.
Before I hand the floor, does everybody have a chance to speak that wants to speak?
That is my point. Did we have the opportunity to move into the gym? Here, you just told me you did. Okay, that's fine. That's what we need to think about in the future. period. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of drama here. Kate, your point's well taken. But how are we gonna move 145 people? Nobody knew how many people, maybe you did, how many people were gonna show up that night. You didn't know. We had, how many people signed, we had 285 people paid last month to win the,
We had
so
over
we had a lot
we
of
had
people
over
signed.
50 members total.
Okay.
In
What-
past
what-
elections, I actually do the data,
Okay.
and so I looked at it. We typically, on average, get about
But
half
to
of the
move-
number of
To
people.
move the group from here to Artsville would have been impossible. There was one option we had, and according to Kerry, we had the opportunity that we could have moved to the gym. We could have told the volleyball team from Madera or Montgomery, where they're from, that give you 15 minutes, we're gonna move our meeting in there. That's my story. Now, if you guys in the future want to move the meeting when you have an election to Artsville, that's fine. Do it ahead of time. But when they show up here, we could have moved it there. End of story. We don't have to have all this drama. That was the point I made. Now that we have that option that I didn't know we had,
Did you want to rescind your motion then?
I will rescind my motion, and if we have the option. I did not know that. That could have stopped a long time ago.
So technically, because of Robert's rules, there is a motion on the floor to rescind the motion. Is there a second to rescind the original motion? Josh Ulrich is seconding the initial motion. Is there any discussion on rescinding the initial motion? Yes, we still technically have a forum. Whoever's phone that is amazing. No discussion. Let's just go ahead and take a vote to rescind the motion. That way that is done. All in favor of rescinding the original motion? Any opposed? 14, I'm sorry. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. Mr. Chair, I'm going to give you back the floor.
All right, does anybody have any items, any other business items for, Naima?
I have a question because I heard Kate say 250 members. Do we have a quorum tonight to vote? We do. Okay.
Okay, does anybody have business for the group? I see Terry Henry's hand.
Really quick, want to make sure that everybody goes out and votes for Madisonville. Businesses are simply the best. Go to, no.
Does anybody have any other business for the group, something to vote on? Okay, so then we can close the business portion of the agenda and go to general body announcements. Does anybody have any announcements for the group? Yeah, all right.
Okay, simply the best, go out to MadisonvilleBC.com. There is a Simply the Best forum. Vote for your favorite Madisonville business. They will be recognized at our January Madisonville Business Chamber meeting. Last year, Josh Ulrich won for School of Rock one, Agape Cafe, and Livio Med Spa. So get your votes in. Thank you.
Does it? All right, next.
School of Rock is hosting a open mic night next Wednesday at Bad Tom Smith Brewing. Monica has a flyer, 6 to 9 p.m. Any and all talents are welcome, including ukulele players, Prince advocates, singers in waiting. Anybody who has talent, please come and join us for a lot of fun.
All right, any other announcements for the body? That I can't.
If you have not paid your dues for 2024, please pay your dues. You are good for voting through the end of January. If you paid in November, you are good for 2024. If you have not paid, pay. That is all.
All right, one more in the back.
For anyone who is interested, the Cincinnati City Council gets sworn in on January 2nd at 11 a.m. at Music Hall. It's open to the public. I will be sworn in for City Council. To our knowledge, the first resident of Madisonville to be on City Council. So you're welcome to join. We'll be there, a couple of us. Hopefully we'll have like an after party too.
Okay, so does anybody else have any announcements for the group? Seeing no hands, can I get a motion to adjourn? By Monica Hill. Never mind, all right.
Good evening, everybody. I have entered a national competition for baking, and I am in 8th place right now. And in about 2 hours, it's going to close for top 5. So if anyone wants to vote for me, I have a QR code. I have a chance to be featured in a national magazine and spend a day with Buddy Velastros of Cake Boss.
Okay, now are there any more announcements for? Okay.
I ain't wanna be rude and interrupt. I seen on my Facebook feed, you already said it, that they were not here due to illness, so do that mean y'all letter of support will not be written until they present in January? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so just to kind of expand on that, like organizations and businesses, developers, property owners, when they go to the city for their approvals, they will ask like the community organizations for a letter of support. And so for us at the community council, when it comes to things that are like that impact the whole community, that's open to all residents that vote. And so we vote here in this meeting. If it's kind of a tricky situation because if timing doesn't work out and for some items, we won't have time to vote. And so that means the board doesn't take direct action, right? So that means like you will see that letter of support for those community organizations like in the packet that goes in front of the city for approval. But that's why it's a letter of support, right? We will vote on it here. We will not send something unless it's been voted on here. Yep. But thank you for coming. All right, so any other announcements for the group? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Anna Albee, seconded by Josh Ulrich. Thank you everybody for coming out. Happy holidays. See you next year.